11 tips to making you a great manager. Managing teams is hard. That's why I want to give you my best 11 tips for managing teams. In this week's video, I'm going to go through tips 1 through 6. In the next video, I'll go through tips 7 through 11, plus I'll have a bonus 12th tip for you as well. So let's get started. Tip number 1, managing a team, any team, always gets a lot easier when you're dealing with great people. All you have to do to learn this one is try managing when you have substandard people. It's hard, if not impossible, to get anything done with great people. I can give you all the other tips, but tip number 1 is the most important tip of all. Start with great people. That's what makes everything go. Really pay attention to your hiring process from day one. Don't bring in people that don't fit the team. All these other things. That's what will make everything super easy for you. Start with a great team, and you're on your way to being a great manager. If you start with a bad team, it's not going to work. It's that simple. That's tip number 1. Okay, let's move on now to tip number 2. Focus on the team and not the problem. Now, what does this mean? Focus on the team and not the problem. Well, focus on the team and the interactions of the team rather than jumping into problem-solving mode. Your team is going to have problems, and the natural tendency is going to be to jump in and try and solve the problem for your team. Instead, focus on the team, focus on what they're doing, focus on making sure that they're doing things right. Then you can jump into the problem. Things get a lot easier this way. Things get a lot better this way, because a lot of the time, the issue is the interaction of the team with each other, or maybe the team members aren't handling the problem properly. Focus there. That's kind of the big picture, kind of the forest before the trees is always the team. Team first. Remember that. That's the key to everything we do here. Focus on the team first, then the problem second. Tip number 3. Are you giving your team a clear direction? And then if you are giving your team a clear direction, are they on course or not? And do you need to do course correction? If you're not giving your teams a clear direction and a clear focus of what they're supposed to be doing and how they're supposed to be doing it, well then how can they be expected to figure out what to do? The answer is they can't. So again, it all starts with you, the leader. If you've got it going right, and you're telling your team clearly what they're supposed to be doing and what they're not supposed to be doing, and giving them good directional guidance, then your team, especially, let's go back to rule number 1, you've hired great people, your team is going to follow, and your team is going to do what you want them to do. Then your job is almost like steering a ship, correcting the course if you need to. But if you've got a great team around you, they're going to naturally do this almost on their own. That's when management gets really easy. Rule number 4, use the rule of 2 to settle turf war issues. Now this one I didn't come up with, but I love this one. The rule of 2, what does this mean? Let's say that you've got group A and group B, manager A, manager B, and they both want to deal with an issue. This will come up as your organization gets larger. And they both want credit and they both want ownership. But you're not sure where it should go and you don't want to decide. So what do? You throw them almost in a room together, literally, and say, you know what? You two figure it out. Go figure it out and come back to me and let me know what you guys want to do and who's going to do what. You guys go solve the problem together if there's a joint problem. This is a way for you to stay above the politics and force communication amongst your team. It's a really clever idea. It's a really smart way to work. Therefore, your team has to work together rather than the interpersonal issues growing. It allows them to learn more about each other. It's a great way to promote teamwork on your team, and it's a great way to help solve this problem. So try the rule of 2. Now, if at the end, the 2 people come back and say, you know what, we can't solve this on our own, that's when you jump in. And that's when you help solve the problem for them. But first, try the rule of 2. It works. Rule number 5. Make sure You're the last person to speak in any group discussion about strategy. Let your team solve the problem first. The minute you start speaking up, everybody's going to want to satisfy you because you're the leader. So even if you have the solution, even if you know what to do, don't be the one to solve the problem. Let your team solve the problem first. This is, again, a great way to foster teamwork, to make your team feel like they're the problem solvers, to give them ownership over the problems. Much better. Look, you're the leader. You're the CEO. You don't have to worry about credit. You don't have to solve every problem out there. No matter what happens, you get the credit, period, for everything that goes on. So you don't need to add to that. Let your team do it. This is how they're going to learn to solve problems on their own. So much better, so much smarter in the way of doing things. And while we're at it, let me add to this. Every problem is yours. Everything that goes wrong in the company is yours. Own every single problem. Give the credit to your team for everything that goes right. Let's call that one number 5A or 5B, shall it be. This is a little extra added bonus in here. So that's a really smart one because you don't need the ego gratification. You're going to get tons of it. Give it to your team and own all the problems. That's how you build loyalty, by doing it that way. Own every single one of them. That's how you do it. Rule number 6. I love this one. Go forward fast. What do I mean by this? Go forward fast. The natural tendency of many people you're going to work with is they need perfect information before they go forward. You can't do that because perfect information will kill you. You have to know when enough is enough. If we can get there with 80% of the information, which takes us 20% of the time, and then we fill in the blanks with our intuition, then we're moving fast and quickly as we're trying to solve problem after problem in our company. That's the way to go forward fast. Make your decisions quickly. If you make mistakes, adjust quickly. Just make sure that none of the issues that you have are company killer issues. If you do that, you'll be golden. You'll be great. And everything will work out just fine. Go forward fast. That's the motto here. Move quickly. It doesn't mean move stupidly. It doesn't mean taking crazy risks. It does mean let's go forward fast. Let's move quickly. That's the way to do it. I'm Brett at brettjfox.com. I hope you've enjoyed these 11 rules. Thank you so much. Bye.